Hey everyone! Yes, you read that title correctly. I did have a miscarriage, my second miscarriage over Mother's Day weekend. Mother's Day has been a really hard day for me over the past few years on this trying to conceive journey, as I'm sure you all can imagine. But this year it was almost unbearable. My first pregnancy and miscarriage, I was so emotional. I was so sad. It took me a really long time to get to a good place mentally, and I don't know if I ever fully got there, but I was starting to feel better. I was starting to feel more hopeful that something would happen again in the future, and I was starting to feel better. Then after this miscarriage recently, I've just been so pissed off. I just feel so mad because Mother's Day weekend of all times, like, really? Every Mother's Day I'm gonna have to think about this for the rest of my life. If I have kids or even if I don't have kids, I'm always going to be reminded of this loss and this pain every single Mother's Day. And I knew I was going to be reminded of loss and pain every Mother's Day, but this is just so different. I'm going to try to film this video in one take, so I apologize if it's all over the place. My husband and I really want to sit down and film an entire video on our trying to conceive journey, but I didn't want to wait for that video to tell you guys this news because I do share so much of my life here on my YouTube channel and on my social media accounts. It doesn't feel right to not share these big life-changing events with you all. I did post recently on my Instagram that I was going on fertility medication for the first time, and so many of you guys were so supportive, and you've been so supportive, and you've been asking me how I'm doing and if the Clomid worked. And yes, the Clomid worked, it was successful, we did get pregnant, but unfortunately for whatever reason, my body just did not want to hold the baby, and I ended up having a chemical pregnancy, which basically your body starts producing the hormone Hsg, but it just doesn't end up developing, and you end up just miscarrying really early on. A lot of people don't know they're having chemical pregnancies because it happened so soon. I actually started miscarrying the day after I would have gotten my period, so a lot of people just think that they're on their normal cycle. I found out because I did test a few days early. But anyway, before I get on with that, if you guys are new to my channel, if you've never seen me before, you're just stumbling upon this video, my name is Maureen. I am 24 years old. My husband and I will be celebrating 5 years of marriage this November. And we have been trying to conceive on and off for pretty much our entire marriage. We became more serious about trying to conceive in 2014, and in 2015, after 11 consecutive months of trying to conceive, we found out we were pregnant. We were so excited. Unfortunately, when we went for my first ultrasound, they saw no baby. It was just an empty sac, and I was told that I had a blighted ovum, which basically means that there's no baby. It's just a sac and nothing ever comes of it, and the pregnancy just ends. So after a few weeks of waiting to see if anything happened, nothing happened. The pregnancy ended at 6 weeks, 4 days. I ended up having a D&C to remove everything because my body wasn't showing any signs of miscarrying naturally. I did do a whole video on that miscarriage, so if you guys are interested or you want to know more about that miscarriage, I'll go ahead and link that video in the description box below. So that happened. After the D&C, I took a really long time to heal. My body just took forever to heal. By the time I healed, my husband had to relocate for work, and he was gone for several months. So when he came back in 2016, we started trying again, and nothing was happening. So we decided at the end of 2016 that if I wasn't pregnant by January of 2017, we would focus all of our energy into trying to get pregnant. So of course, January 2017 comes around, not pregnant. We go to my OBGYN and we have a fertility consultation with her. I love her, she is so great. She ended up sending me to IVF to have an Hsg test done where they put dye inside you to see if your tubes are open or if there's any blockages. If there's blockages, that's a good sign that that could be causing you to not get pregnant. Well, I went in, the test was great, tubes were open, everything was flowing nicely. Everything was great. My husband had a sperm analysis test before the first pregnancy and everything was normal and great there. So I went back to my doctor for a consultation after that, like a follow-up appointment, and they couldn't find anything wrong with us. Everything seems normal. We look healthy. Everything on paper checks out. So there wasn't no one could find a reason. So my doctor decided to go ahead and prescribe me Clomid, which is a fertility medication, and I was really confused. As soon as she told me she wanted me to go on Clomid, I basically told her no, because I've heard horror stories about Clomid. So many people say that they go on it and they just have horrible reactions to it because it changes your hormones. They say that they are super cranky and their husbands have to put up with them being, you know, super bitchy, and the side effects are just awful, and I really didn't want to go on, and I didn't want to put my body through that. After my husband and I talked about it for a while, we decided we would go ahead and try the Clomid. So I went on Clomid in April, and I took it, I think you have to, for me, I had to start it on day 5 of my cycle and take it through day 9. So I took it for 5 days. During the time that I was taking Clomid, I felt okay. I was very tired and my ovaries were so sore. They felt like they were swollen, like the size of bowling balls. They felt huge. My back hurt, my sides hurt, everything hurt. I spent most of my time in bed laying on a heating pad because I was just in a lot of pain. But mentally I was doing okay. I wasn't having major mood swings or anything like that. So I thought everything was great. I was doing well on the Clomid. I was feeling really hopeful that it would work. I was just super excited. I was feeling like this is it. This is what we needed. We're going to get pregnant. It's going to be amazing. So I take the Clomid, we try to conceive, then you have to wait to see if you're pregnant. And during that waiting period, I was starting to feel less and less hopeful because I wasn't having any symptoms. In my first pregnancy, I had very early symptoms and they were very noticeable. I wasn't having any early noticeable symptoms, so I just thought it didn't work. So my husband and I go to Playlist Live in Orlando, Florida. And the Friday that we're there, I'm getting ready to lay in bed and I just have this like, it just felt like someone punched me in the uterus. Like I had these horrible cramps in my uterus. They were awful. It hurt so bad. And I had this wave of nausea come over me and I just felt so sick. And that wave of nausea never left me the entire weekend. The cramping stopped about 20 minutes after it started and I kind of cramped on and off all weekend. But the wave of nausea was there the entire time that I was at Playlist Live. All I wanted to do was drink ginger ale, and just something about that was like, okay, this might be a sign. This is a symptom of pregnancy. And so I was getting really excited. I was feeling really hopeful. My husband and I were super excited. We're thinking, oh my gosh, it works. Like, this is so great. So on our drive home on Sunday, we were talking about just being pregnant and the idea of being pregnant and how awesome it is that everything was working out for us finally. We've been through so much heartache and so much pain, and it was like, finally, like, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and we were so excited about that. So we get home Sunday night, and I had told my husband I was gonna wait until Monday morning to test, but as soon as we got home, I just couldn't wait. I just wanted to test. I wanted to know because I felt in my heart and in my body that I was pregnant. So I just wanted to know. I couldn't wait any longer. So as soon as we got home from Playlist Live, I opened the front door, I went right into the bathroom and grabbed a pregnancy test because I had purchased tests earlier in the month knowing that I was gonna test. So I took the test by myself in the bathroom. It came up right away with 2 lines, and my initial thought was, okay, I'm pregnant. Like, I wasn't super excited just because all I've known on this journey is heartache and loss. And when you've been through that, it's hard to be excited because you almost don't want to let yourself get attached to something because you don't know if it's really going to happen. So I was really nervous, but I was getting more excited. I handed the test to my husband and he saw it and he just flipped out. He was so happy. So we cried together, we laughed together, we just spent the rest of the night just talking about like being pregnant and when the baby was going to be born and how the next 9 months were going to look, and we were just so excited. So that was Sunday. Monday morning I took a couple more tests. I took a digital test and it came up pregnant. And I was like, okay, I feel good. Like, seeing that word on the test felt so good. I honestly felt like I was never going to see that word again. So I was so, so happy. Then Tuesday and Wednesday, I wasn't feeling as nauseous as I was feeling. I was feeling a little bit better, and that worried me because last time when I was pregnant, as soon as I stopped feeling those pregnancy symptoms is when the pregnancy ended, basically. So as soon as I stopped feeling those symptoms, I got really, really nervous because I thought something is wrong. Like, I should be feeling more, like something is not right. So Thursday morning I woke up and I took 2 more tests because I just felt like something was wrong. And the test that I took, the lines had gotten lighter. And the lines are not supposed to get lighter, they're supposed to get darker. So I freaked out. I text my husband a picture of the test. I'm like, something is wrong, this isn't right, the test should not be getting lighter. You know, we thought maybe they're just bad tests, like maybe it was just a bad batch, like, you know, but in my heart, I felt like something is wrong. And all day Thursday, I was just so upset. It was a miserable day just because I felt like something is not right, something is wrong. The Monday after I found out I was pregnant, I had called my doctor and they had set up an appointment for me to come in that Friday to do the blood test and see if I was pregnant. So I went in Friday by myself. I just thought it would be a normal, like, you talk to the doctor for a minute, they send you down for blood work. That's what happened the first time around. There was no urine test. It was just, I went in, talked to the doctor, she sent me down for blood work. We waited for the blood work. Blood work came back positive. So I went by myself, not thinking anything major was going to happen, and I was just hoping and praying that going in on Friday would give me some peace of mind that everything was okay and that I could just be okay. Well, I go on Friday and they had me do a urine test, which I was really confused about because the first time I was pregnant, my doctor said, we don't do urine tests here because those can be so inaccurate. We just want to do the blood work. We'll just skip the urine test. So they had me do a urine test. I was really confused. I did the urine test. I went into the room and waited for the doctor. And this wasn't my normal doctor. I just saw whoever I could see just so I could get in as quickly as I could. And so I felt like I was sitting in that room forever. I was just so nervous. I was all by myself. I was just so nervous. We hadn't really told anybody. We had told a couple people, just a few of my closest friends, because it was going to be Mother's Day and we were just so excited to tell our moms on Mother's Day that they were going to be grandmas. Like, we had this whole thing planned out. We were so excited. So that's basically why I was there by myself, because no one really knew. We wanted to keep it a secret for Mother's Day. So the doctor comes in and says, well, we're going to send you down for blood work because the urine test that you did here came back negative. And as soon as she said that, I just lost it, because the tests the day before were lighter and now it's negative. Like, obviously my Hsg is going down, which means that I'm gonna miscarry. And like I said, all I've known is hurt and heartache. So there was really no talking to me. Like, the doctor was trying to talk to me and trying to make me feel more hopeful, but I just knew something was wrong. You just have that feeling. It's like mother's intuition. You just know. So she talked to me for a while. She sent me down for blood work. I went down for blood work. I was a mess down there. I'm in that office all the time for blood work. And they're like, what is going on? Why are you so upset? You're not normally like this. And I'm like, they think I'm gonna have a miscarriage. And so they tried to consult me there. There was just no consoling me. I just wanted to go home and cry. So I left the office. I was texting my husband back and forth. I left the office and I went right to my parents' house because I needed to be with somebody. I didn't want to be alone. And I was really upset because I wanted to wait until Mother's Day to tell them, but I just couldn't be by myself. So I went to my parents' house. I saw my dad first and I walked up to him and he's like, hi, how are you? And I just started crying and he was like, oh my gosh, what is wrong? And I couldn't get the words out. I was just crying so hard and I could hear his heart racing, like waiting to find out. And so I finally told him, I'm pregnant, but it doesn't look good. And so he brought me inside and we sat down and told my mom, and they prayed over me, and you know, they tried to make me feel better, and I was feeling a little bit better. And then my husband left work to come home and be with me, and I was starting to feel a little bit more hopeful that things might be okay. You know, maybe their urine test was just wrong and maybe my tests were just not good tests. I was starting to feel more hopeful. I was reading a lot online about this happening to people all the time, where they would get a negative urine test. Someone said she got a negative urine test and ended up having twins. So I was starting to feel better. So that night, Friday night, I was getting ready to take a shower, so I'm undressing. And it's going to be a little TMI, but you're watching a miscarriage video, so I'm sure you're aware that there's going to be a TMI. So I start taking my clothes off, and I notice that there's like this brown stuff in my underwear, and I'm thinking, oh my god, like here we go. Like, this is not normal. So I go to the bathroom, and obviously, you know, there's brown stuff there, and I told my husband, I think I'm starting to bleed. And they told me that if I started to bleed when I was at the doctor, to go to the emergency room. And it was like 10:30 at night. I did not want to go to the emergency room. I just wanted to be home with my husband and my dog and just lay in bed. I didn't want to go anywhere. So I went back to the bathroom. At this point I was actually spotting. I was really starting to bleed. So the first thing I thought to do was message my friend who has had this happen to her before and just see what she said. And then I realized I need to talk to my doctor. So I call my office and I talk to the emergency nurse, and she says, we'll have the doctor call you back in a little bit. It took 30 minutes for the doctor to call me, and it felt like an eternity. I literally just sat on the floor with my phone in front of me, just waiting to find out what I had to do next. Like I said, I was getting ready to get in the shower so I could go to bed. So I talked to the doctor, I'm telling him what's going on. He said, if I want to go to the emergency room, I can. They'll just do blood work and see what my levels are. And I told him I had just had blood work done that morning. I was waiting to hear back from them. You know, I basically knew what was going on with my body because I've been on this journey for years now. I know every possible situation. So I knew I was having an early chemical pregnancy. Like I said, I started bleeding the day after my period would have been due. And so I started bleeding Friday. I wake up Saturday, there's not much, and then Saturday and Sunday I was just bleeding really bad and clotting really bad, and it obviously wasn't a normal period. Like, there was more clotting and it was awful. So Mother's Day weekend we just stayed in bed, my husband and I. We didn't see anybody, we didn't really talk to anybody. We just stayed in bed, and I just miscarried naturally, and I wasn't in too much pain. As soon as I found out that I was miscarrying, I started taking the pain medication that they had given me the first time I miscarried, and so I didn't have a lot of pain physically, but emotionally I was just in so much pain. I was just pissed off. Like, really? Why is this happening to me on Mother's Day? Like, what is the point of me getting a positive pregnancy test to just find out that I'm gonna miscarry on Mother's Day? Like, I was just so pissed off. I was just so upset and so hurt, and I just felt like God just didn't care about me. And it's such an awful thing to say, but that's just how I felt. You know, why does God do this to good people? I was just so hurt and upset. It was an awful Mother's Day, and so I had to wait all weekend for my blood results to come back. And the doctor had told me Friday, when I didn't go to the emergency room, that I would need to go into the doctor first thing Monday so we could get everything figured out. So they called me Monday morning before I went into the office and said that my blood work came back, but it was really low. But they didn't tell me what the number was, and I wish I would have asked, but I didn't ask. So we went into the office, my husband and I, and we sat down in an office with, I don't even know who she was. And she told me that my level was at a 6, which I knew was not good at all. And you need like a 50 to even be able for it to register on a digital test. So I knew that it had gone down and it wasn't looking good. And obviously I knew I had miscarried already because I was bleeding, and I knew that there was no hope. I knew it was over. And there were several things that I wanted to have done. Like, I had told them when I went on Friday to test my progesterone because I wanted to see what the level was, because if I do end up getting pregnant again, I want to know if maybe my progesterone is low, and that's why I'm miscarrying. And so I asked them to do that, and when I got to the office, they told me that they didn't test that. So I pretty much freaked out in the office and started screaming, like, what is wrong with you people? I'm asking you to do something that I'm paying for. Why are you not doing it? And I was very upset. I was so pissed off at the office. And so basically that was it. I had to, you know, just go home, and then I could come back the next day and talk to the doctor. So I got back the next day with my mom to see the doctor and pretty much go over the same thing. She was super sweet. Like I said, I love my doctor. She's amazing. And she told me that I could go ahead and go on Clomid again next month if I wanted to, but she thought that I would be better off going to IVF of Florida because they can, you know, do more tests to find out what might be causing me to have miscarriages. So as soon as I left that office, I made an appointment for IVF of Florida, and I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna talk to them and see where we go next. I want to continue to try. I want to have a baby. I want to be a mom. I want to give my husband a baby. Like, that is what I want. That's my dream for my entire life, and I want that so bad. But I'm also so scared because I cannot put myself physically and mentally through this again. It is so hard. I thought the first time, like, how do people do this multiple times? Like, I couldn't do this, and now here I am having to do it. And it just is so awful. And so I'm just hoping that IVF can help me and they can figure out what's going on so that we can have a successful pregnancy in the future. So that's where I stand right now. If you guys would pray for us, I would really appreciate it. And my heart goes out to everyone who's had to go through this too. It's the worst thing that I've ever been through in my entire life. And I've been through some stuff. And this is just so hard. I would never wish this on anybody. It is awful. It's awful. So if you guys would pray for us, we would really, really appreciate it. I will continue to update you guys with any information in the future. I just thank you guys so much for being there to support me and love on me through times like this. It means so, so much to us. So thank you guys so much. If you listen to this whole video, you're amazing. I just wanted to give you guys an update because it's a huge life event and it needs to be shared. If it can help other people, then I feel like I've done something with a horrible situation. If you have any questions or if you're going through the same thing and you want to ask me something, feel free to reach out to me. Like, if anything, I want to turn a bad situation into a good thing. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being supportive, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.